so I flew to Brisbane, met Charbel, and then we flew to Papua New Guinea.
Wow.
And Matt,
tell me about that.
Matt, look, not only was that one of the best speaking experiences of my life, it was one of the best experiences of my life, period. I mean, it was, so Charbel and I flew from Brisbane to Port Moresby. We get off the plane, like literally off the plane, step into the jetway, and there's someone there from airport services. Said, "Oh, I'm here to take you." I'm like, "Oh, okay, take us down to baggage claim and help us with immigration." Okay, this is great. So as we're walking toward the top of the jet bridge, there's photographers and media and all these people. Like, what's going on? So we get to the top of the jet bridge. They introduce themselves. Hey, take your passport and your baggage tags and your tickets. Just give them to these folks over here. More airport officials. I'm like, okay. So Charbel and I give our stuff. We're going over here. So we go into this VIP room, and I didn't know they had these rooms in the airport. This VIP lounge, they have drinks in there, and I'm meeting the Prime Minister's wife and the Papal Nuncio and all this kind of, and I'm sitting there going like, what is going on right now? Right? I'm like, what's going on right now? And so they kind of introduce all the main people, and they said, well, I'm going to go down for the official greeting. So we walk out the back of the airport, down some stairs. There's hundreds of folks in indigenous dress. And they do this formal like greeting, and we parade around this back parking lot, and it was absolutely amazing. And then, so then we after the beautiful ceremony, and I'm going to be putting videos on my YouTube channel soon, and that's another thing. I just got demonetized, but that's another story.
Whoa, we'll get to that.
Yeah. So we get into this van. And as the van pulls off, I realize, wait a minute, we're in a motorcade. There's motorcycles, there's 2 pilot vehicles, there's trail vehicles behind us, and they start blocking traffic. And we're going through, and I'm like, wait a minute. Matt, I just broke down and started crying.
Okay. Why are they doing this? At what point did you look at Charbel and be like...
Well, the whole time I was looking at Charbel. Charbel, what's going on, bro?
I'm a Catholic deacon, right?
Yeah, this was the first time that they had an international Catholic speaker in the country.
Oh, my gosh.
Speaking to the groups the size that I did. And so they treated us, me and Charbel, like international dignitaries. But we didn't know that going in.
Oh, so he wasn't even aware this was going to happen. No, he wasn't aware of it
either. So we were just caught off guard. So as we're driving through this motorcade, I'm just crying. And Charbel's, you okay? I'm like, I'm just completely overwhelmed. I'm in shock. I'm overwhelmed. And so we get to the Bishop's Conference offices, complex, really, because it's more than just offices. Like there's a studio, there's apartments and a bookstore and all these things, like, in this gated thing. So we pull in, and these guys get out, and then I realized, Matt, I have a protection detail.
Okay.
There were 6 guys with me and Charbel the entire time, and these are like Secret Service guys, like. Yeah. Wait, okay. So we go in, and there's a press conference. The room is full. There's a table, microphone set up. You sit here, Charbel, you sit here. This is the head of the Bishop's Conference, Bishop Otto, great guy. Yeah. So you sit here. I mean, so they have this big old press conference. People are taking pictures that it's made the national news, and I'm still in complete shock. Then they get up and say, "Oh, Deacon Howard was so grateful to have him here. He's here to reawaken a nation." Ooh. And I'm thinking, I'm sitting in a press conference, I'm smiling, and I'm thinking, I'm doing what? I thought I was here to talk to Catholics. It was just, and so I got up there and made like a kind of some remarks, and Charbel got up there and made some remarks, and so then the press conference is over. They have a lunch in there, spread. So, and I'm still like, now I'm getting nervous. Because this is not a normal gig here. So here's the thing. So I always travel with a sports coat, okay? Because I like pockets.
Oh, love
wallet,
pockets. Need a pocket.
Phone, rosary.
I hate this shirt because it doesn't have a pocket.
Exactly.
I need a breast pocket.
Exactly. So I carry all my stuff. So before I left on July 4th, so I go to my dry cleaner, my guy, right? Okay. And I go to him the week before. I drop off my jacket. I say, "Hey, can you get this for me before I leave on the 4th?" He goes, "I'll just come back on the 3rd on Monday, no problem." So I go to pick it up, and he's closed. The sign says closed 3rd and 4th for the flight to Raleigh. So he just spaced it. So I'm like, so I'm a little frustrated. So I had to bring just a regular jacket, you know. And so after the press conference is over, the detail says, "What do you want to do now?" And I'm like, "Well, I need to. I need a sports coat. I mean, is there a place I can get a coat?" "Yes, we got a place." So 2 guys get in a pilot car. They go. 4 guys get in with me, and we go. Not blocking traffic this time. We go to this tailor, and so I was about to get the van. Said, "No, stay here." The 2 guys in front get out. They clear the store. Then they come back out. "Okay, come in," and they close the store down while I'm in there.
Okay.
I'm like, what?
So did they know who you were as well?
Yeah. So I go in the store, and I'm looking on the rack. So no. We're gonna make you a jacket.
Thanks. That's a good idea.
"Excuse me?" And so they measured me and everything. It took all the measurements and said, "Come back in 3 days."
I have
and
so many questions, Deacon. I'm hoping you're going to like back end this story.
Oh, absolutely.
So okay, just real quick, you went to this place. He knew who you were, or did the people tell him this is Deacon Harold?
It was advertised on the national news.
Okay, so
and all this stuff. So they knew that I was in town. And in fact, they weren't. Actually, the big groups there are the Seventh-day Adventists and the Assemblies of God are huge there. I would love to go down. Huge
just
there.
To talk about
so
that,
the folks that owned the store were Seventh-day Adventists, but we invited them to come to the events. You know, so anyway, this is the jacket that they made, and then they surprised me when I picked it up with this logo.
The flag.
Because I just got the jacket. They had me pick out the material and everything.
This is the flag, correct?
Yeah, this is the flag with Papua New Guinea, and that was complete and total surprise. So I told them I will now wear this jacket everywhere.
Wow.
You know, just to remember that beautiful experience.
That's so much nicer than saying, "This is great, but could you take this off?" Yeah, I never asked for this. Okay, so that's wild.
Yeah.
What was the security personnel for?
Because I was an international dignitary. So they treated me like if I was like a president or a diplomat or something like that.
I just sent Thursday to pick you up. No wonder, like this is such a letdown. And you get to the hotel that's not ready.
Oh no, it was surreal. The whole thing was surreal. And so then after the story, they said, "Where do you want to go now?" I'm like, you know, and the thing is, I could see they were excited. Because I'm like, I don't want to bother these guys, but they were happy to do it. They were excited. And then I come to find out later, they call themselves the chaplaincy.
Okay.
And these are all Catholics. All these cops that were doing these details, and they weren't just like off-duty cops. This is their specialization. And so, they wanted to do it. So I'm like, okay. And I've been on the other side of those details. I mean, I've worked President Bush, Dalai Lama, Justice Scalia, Nelson Mandela. So I know what these...
For those at home who aren't aware of you, you were law enforcement.
Yes. So I've been on the other side of those details. That was weird for me to be on this side of it. So I said, well, let's go to the venue. I just want to see where I'm speaking. So we go to
see somebody feeding Charbel grapes in the corner.
Well, Charbel wasn't there, though. Okay. So I went to the Sir John Guise indoor stadium is where they're having this event. So we go in. And then as soon as I walk in, these people start running toward us. So the security guys jump in front to stop them. I said, no, it's okay. So they come, they want autographs, take pictures. And I haven't said anything yet. I've never been in this country before. I'm still like, they know who I am. I mean, it was just weird. And so then I meet with the event coordinator, and they tell me, here's the setup. We're still setting up chairs and this kind of thing. The band's going to be here, and this is the stage where you're going to be speaking. Big screen behind. We're going to put your thing up there. And okay, great, you know, and they said, okay, where to now? I said, well, back to the complex, you know. So it was just, then we ended up going to a nature preserve, and they shut the nature preserve down while we were there, while Charbel and I were there. Same thing, 8 guys with us the whole time, and we're walking around looking at all these beautiful animals and indigenous plants and bird species there.
So does the government think of Papua New Guinea as a Catholic or Christian country?
Yes, as a matter of fact, Matt. Because one of the guys that was at the press conference and was with all the talks, he was one of the founding fathers of Papua New Guinea. He was one of the original writers of the Constitution for the country. In fact, they're coming up on their 50th anniversary. And this is only 1 or 2 guys that are still alive. That was one of the original founders. It was based on Catholic social teaching, the Constitution. The country's 93% Christian and 27% Catholic.
Forgive me for not knowing anything about Papua New Guinea. It's primarily black, primarily English speaking?
Yes. Although they have 8 100 languages there.
That'll do.
Not dialects.
Those road signs must
languages.
be really unwieldy.
It's such a rich culture.
800, yeah.
It was spectacular. People were phenomenal. So the first day I spoke to, well, I was supposed to speak to politicians, political leaders and politicians in the morning session. But they didn't show up.
Oh.
So I ended up giving my leadership talk, which I was supposed to give to them, to the priests and religious in the afternoon. So I ended up giving 2 talks in the afternoon session, the priests and religious. So there about 400 of them or so showed up. Then the next day was a youth rally, and I gave 3 talks, and about 2,000 showed up. Oh. Then the next day was open to everyone, gave 2 talks, and about 4,000 people showed up.
How familiar are they with you? And how are they familiar with you? I mean, I presume they showed up because it was a youth conference, not just because it was you.
Some of them was from Pints with Aquinas, because they said, "Oh, we saw you on Pints with Aquinas." I'm like, "Wait, you Papua New Guinea? You saw Pints with Aquinas? Oh yeah, we love Matt." I'm like, "What?
Man, thank you, Papua New Guinea.
I told him I was going to be on, so that's why I wanted to wear the jacket, and But so internet, EWTN, all
Praise
of that
the
there,
Lord.
yeah, and I cried several times during the thing. It was just completely overwhelming. And then, so after the last day, the last talk, the cardinal shows up. So, and I said, "Oh, Your Eminence," he goes, "I'm sorry I couldn't be here. I was out of the country. I just got back. I'm going to celebrate Mass." Of course, he goes, "And you're going to preach." I said, Your Eminence. I said, "You're the cardinal. Don't you?" No. I want you to do it. I'm like, okay. So I got to preach with the cardinal. It was just, that just doesn't happen. The only other cardinal that it happened for was Cardinal George. When I got invited to speak at a catechetical conference in Chicago when he was Cardinal Archbishop there, and he was in Portland before, Oregon, so he knew me from there. And when they invited me to come and speak, he asked me to preach at the Mass that he was. I'm like, "I can't do that. You're the Cardinal." He goes, No.
By God's grace, did you reawaken a nation?
Well, it's not me; it's the Holy Spirit.
That's why I
don't reawaken anything.
Amen. That's right.
I'm just the instrument. God's the musician. So I'm just trying to be a finely tuned instrument in His hands. But the reaction was phenomenal. Then the last day there before we left, they had a big breakfast and a kind of a final meeting and kind of processing everything, and they want to establish a formal relationship now with Perusia Media and Charbel. Like to really help catechize the country as a follow-up to our being there. There's already plans for me to come back next year and speak in more parts of the country.
I bet your wife's like, "I'm coming."
Yeah, it was just it was an amazing experience.
Did it give you we always talk about how this media, right? YouTube, television, radio gets it to the whole world, but getting to see that in action must have been quite moving. Yeah,
that's why I cried several times. I was just and be honest with you, part of it too, I think why I was so emotional was the affirmation, because remember last time I was here I talked about how I got blasted at a talk.
That's right. You were criticizing something,
and just horrible things they said about me in these emails. Yeah. And so this experience now was like affirmation, like, you're on the right track.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.